What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone for a breaking news show. As you can see, I just need to improvise again because I was not planning to do anything today. But Jonathan David is reportedly, according to Di Marzio, just extremely close to joining Juve out of the blue, out of nowhere. Like I said, I was not planning to do this, nor did I had any intention to do transfer talk, the day before we play a massive game against Venezia, which it has big implications on our next season as well. But according to Di Marzio, Jonathan David is getting extremely closer to Juve because Juve decided to pull the trigger and, basically say yes to Jonathan David's demands, which were the issue at time, and make the deal happen. Di Marzio also added they wanted to move fast. They're moving decisively as well to beat the competition of Napoli because they have talks with Jonathan David for a very long time. However, Juve, according to Di Marzio, swooped in and accelerate talks and are trying to just close it and wrap it up already by giving Jonathan David what he wants, which we're going to talk about as well. Before we are doing that, Jesus, smash the like button. Let's get to at least 100 likes. Should be easy for a breaking news show and potentially the first one of the summer. But Jonathan David, free agent from Lille. That's important to say. Free agent. On the player, I'm gonna repeat what I said all this time. I have nothing against Jonathan David. Actually, I like Jonathan David. However, he cannot be the main guy. That's as simple as that. If he's the main guy next season, I think we have an issue. Not think, I'm convinced we have an issue. So he cannot be the main guy. That's one. That's the most important thing for me. He cannot be the main guy because he's not your typical number nine. He is. I think he can play multiple positions up front. In different formations. Let me say different formations, which is very interesting. Especially considering if we think Conte is going to be the coach, whoever is going to be the coach at this case. So I like that about Jonathan David. He can score goals. That's also very important. I think he's a good footballer all around. I think he has some. I think he has a good technique. Like, he's a good footballer. Period. He's nothing special. He's not world class. Whatever. Not going over the top. So as a free agent, I'm okay with it. The problem I always had was obviously the one where he cannot be the main guy. That's obviously one point. And the second one, the reported demands were insane. Free agent or not, he, according to reports, was asking for 7 to 8 million euros net a season. I hope we're not giving him that. I don't see the club doing that because you mess up your wage structure completely when you're signing players from agents who know they are better than Jonathan David or have more, prestige, you want to call it, as Jonathan David. They have something to bargain with. You have a player on 8 million euros who's probably not your main guy. So I hope that's not the case. I don't think that's the case. But when Di Marzio put in his article, the club decided to just accept Jonathan David's demands. I'm a bit fearful when it comes to what the demands were. Was it more of a panic of, we need to do this? Because keep in mind, we don't know who the coach is going to, like, we fans do not know who the coach is going to be. We can all believe it's Antonio Conte or you can believe it's Tudor, because those are the only two names out there. I still find it very interesting that the club is making those signings no matter what. Now, you can flip it and you can say, Napoli are in talks for Jonathan David and Conte is Napoli's coach, so maybe Conte signed off for Jonathan David, and Juve is like, okay, then we are gonna get Jonathan David because, well, we know Conte is joining us. I don't know, but like right now, it doesn't really make sense signing players when you do not know who the coach is, free agent or not. Like, you don't do that unless you're signing top five players in the world, where it's like whoever the coach is, obviously he wants that player. He's a top five player in the world. So that is a very interesting thing. Yeah, confusing at this moment in time. But Jonathan David is the player who potentially could be our first signing of the season and probably can play the Club World Cup as well. And I think that's also interesting in itself. So that's that. That also means obviously Vlahovic is gone, but I also think Milik is gone. Milik should be gone. He should not be at this club anymore, not even as a backup. Just get rid of these players who cannot stay healthy and are just not good enough, period. You need to get rid of that. So for me, it is an upgrade on what we have. And he is a free agent, so I'm cool with that. As long as that's not the out and out number 9. Now, if you tell me the out and out number 9 is going to be Højlund, then I'm like, cool. You be the out and out number 9. But then still, like that's not what we all want to see, right? As fans, we are all expecting something more, Champions League, Europa League, or Conference League. As a fan, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't care. You need to make it work. Elkan, whatever. You just need to inject more money, because we cannot go out in a season trying to compete and get back to the top when we need to work with players who are not A level, all over the place. You can cope with 1, 2, 3 positions maybe throughout the season, but when you have half the squad or more not in A level players, it's going to take ages to get back up there, because Conte has done that with this Napoli squad. He only played one competition. He played a B squad against Lazio in the Coppa Italia and got knocked out. He almost got knocked out against, was it Cremonese? Earlier on? I don't know, so whatever. It was extra time. I don't know if it was Cremonese or Messina. I don't know which team it was. But he only had one competition to focus on with a very average squad. It's still impressive. I don't care, because Inter have a better squad, a roster to compete, But for Conte, if you bring him in and you expect him to work miracles with this squad, with 1, 2 additions in 3 competitions, even if it's Conference League, you're insane as a club. So if you get Conference League on Sunday, you deserve to get Conference League, but you need, as a club, as an owner, you need to compensate for it. Because if you want to build something, if you're Alcon, you're like, I'm bringing in Antonio Conte. However, this season it's Conference League, so there's no real money to work with. It's not going to work, nor is Conte going to join in the first place. Because even if we get Conference League, like let's say Conte tells De Laurentiis, I want out. He will say that even if we have Conference League, but only if he knows, if Alcon told him the money is going to be there, the players you quote unquote want, the profiles you quote unquote want, they are going to be there. I'm going to make sure, even with Conference League money, no Champions League money, I will make sure those players are going to be there. Then fine, this can work. So that's why I'm looking at the Jonathan David one. I'm like, it's a free agent. You don't spend the money as you should be spending it, on the books as well. It looks different, the signing on bonus is much lower than if you are buying a random player at this moment in time. So I get that if the wages are respectable and if he's not the main out and out number 9. This also tells me, I think Conceição was gone as well. I think we're going to go not with the wingers next season. I think we're going to go a different direction in my opinion. So yeah, Jonathan David, it's not a here we go, it's not a done deal, but according to Di Marzio, the club is actually really confident they're going to close that deal ASAP, maybe next week, just ahead of the Club World Cup, get it wrapped up because he's a free agent and keep it moving. So that's that. Like the video, like I said, and let me know in the comments what you think about Jonathan David as the main guy, as an additional piece. You tell me what he is or what you think the club sees in him, and then we will speak with each other tomorrow and also especially Sunday post game, and hopefully it's not Conference League nor Europa League, hopefully it's Champions League.